Hi everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is yoga to connect to your inner peace. We're going to start today standing at the top of our mats. Feet can be hip width apart. Begin to center yourself and focus only on the present moment. Maybe try tucking in the pelvis and glutes, focusing on the core. And with an inhale, let's start with rolling the shoulders from front to back, creating small circles. Release the breath. And let's go for the deepest inhale you've taken all day while we change direction of the circles with the shoulders. Exhale. And as we come back to standing still, maybe think about what you want to get out of this practice today. What's your intention for this moment? Let's take the right leg and place it behind the left on the other side of the mat. Take a hold of the right wrist with the left hand and let's go for a side stretch to the left. You should feel this along the side of your abdomen. And coming back to center, let's go for the other side, that left foot coming behind the right. Taking a hold of the left wrist with the right hand. Inhale and exhale. Lovely. Now come back to center. Let's go for another deep breath and let it all go. Any tension you're holding, release it now. And let's go for our flow today. We're going to start with some sun salutations. Throughout the practice, keep a focus on your power. Let's go ahead and raise the arms above the head. Palms can come to touch. You can gaze up at the ceiling and slowly let's bend forward. Hands can come to the mat, the shins or the thighs, whatever feels comfortable for you. And now slowly moving into halfway lift. We're going to raise the head and straighten the back. Gaze forward towards the top of the mat. Again, the hands can be on the thighs, shins, or the floor, wherever feels comfortable for you. Now slowly releasing back down to forward fold. We're going to slowly step back into high plank. And from here, we'll move through a vinyasa. So if you're a beginner to yoga, you can use your knees and slowly lower yourself to the mat. And we'll go for a baby cobra. So pushing up with the arms, bending the back and looking towards the top of the mat. Release it all back down and we'll push ourselves back up to high plank. Moving through into our first downward dog. Now because it's our first one, let's have a pedal out. You can bend the knees and the toes. Moving through anything you think your body needs in this moment. Focus on lifting your hips and pelvis towards the ceiling, and the hands should be spread widely to give you that extra balance and comfort on the floor. Take a deep inhale And exhale and slowly walk yourself to the top of the mat. We'll go for a forward fold. And go ahead and slowly roll yourself up to come to standing at the top of the mat with the arms raised above the head. And release, samastati. And let's go again. Inhale, lift the arms above the head. You can look up at the palms together. And release, slowly coming into your forward fold. You can have a micro bend in the knees here if that feels better for you. And slowly lift to halfway lift. Now again, let's slowly lower and step back or jump back to high plank. And we're going to slowly lower down to the mat, whichever way feels best for you, and either come into baby cobra, or if it's in your practice already, go for an upward facing dog. And slowly push back, either through that high plank or straight up to down dog. Again, just have a few deep breaths here. Keeping a focus on lifting those hips towards the ceiling. Release any tension that you're holding on to. Inhale and exhale. And again, step or jump to the top of the mat. We're going to come into halfway lift and back down to forward fold. Go ahead and take a deep inhale and exhale. On your next inhale, let's go ahead and roll back up, arms lifted above the head, and arms back down to your sides in mountain pose. Let's go for our third and final round. Arms lifted above the head on an inhale. Exhale, let's slowly fold forward. Coming into forward fold. And inhale, lift up to halfway lift. Exhale, release and step or jump back to high plank. And either go for a chaturanga or lower yourself down and go for a baby cobra. Inhale and exhale. And lift yourself back up to downward facing dog. Taking a deep inhale. And exhale. Let's take another deep breath in, focusing only on what's on the mat right now. And exhale, release any tension you're holding. Slowly moving with your breath, we're going to step or jump to the top of the mat. Coming to halfway lift. Inhale, and on the exhale, lower down to forward fold. Inhale as you rise, arms above the head, and exhale, lower the arms to the sides and come to mountain pose. Well done. They were your 3 sun salutations for today. Now let's move through the second part of the flow. So go ahead and raise the arms above the head. Inhale. And let's lower ourselves all the way down, back into that forward fold at the top of the mat. And slowly step or jump your feet back into high plank. Now go ahead and lift the hips and the pelvis and come back into a downward facing dog. From here, we're going to lift the right leg and come into 3-leg dog. Try to keep the hips square. Don't have one moving too far in front of the other. The leg doesn't need to be straight, and it's not about how flexible you are, it's just about getting that stretch in the hips. Now let's go ahead and bring that foot through and place it in between our palms at the top of the mat. And slowly we'll come into a high lunge, raising the arms above the head. Keep your pelvis tucked in. Hips are square towards the top of the mat. And slowly transitioning into Warrior 1. So the back foot will turn to a 90-degree angle in line with the back of the mat. Hips are square, arms are still lifted above the head, and you can look up to the ceiling if that feels good for you. Now, taking an inhale, let's move into Warrior 2. Arms come into a T shape and slowly pivot to bring the attention back to that bend in the front knee, and the back leg is straight, foot at a 90-degree angle. Bring a focus to the hips here, make sure they're square. And on an inhale, let's go into reverse warrior. So bring that right arm up above the head and towards the back of the mat. Keep an eye on the hand, and the left arm can either come to the thigh or the right hip if you want to go for a bind. Taking an inhale and exhale, coming back to Warrior 2. Let's straighten that front leg and we'll bend forward until you can. And let's go for triangle, bringing the hand either down to a block or the mat or your shin, wherever you feel comfortable. And the other arm is just going to go above the head. Arms still in that T shape and look towards the top hand. Now coming back to Warrior 2, let's slowly pivot into that high lunge. Bring the hands back down to the mat and we'll go for a stretch. Raising the right arm up above the head, left hand is planted on the mat. Inhale and exhale, bringing that hand back to the mat. Step back to high plank and move through your vinyasa. So either moving through a chaturanga to come into upward facing dog, or lower yourself to the mat and go into baby cobra. And slowly lift yourself back up into downward dog. Take a moment here to take a deep breath and release. Let anything go right now that's on your mind. And let's go for the other side, lifting that left leg up towards the ceiling, taking an inhale, and on the exhale, bring that left foot through to be placed between the palms at the top of the mat. And let's come into that high lunge, taking an inhale, arms above the head. And let's slowly pivot that foot out to a 90-degree angle, coming into Warrior One. Hips are square towards the front of the mat, and you can look up towards the ceiling or to your hands. Inhale and exhale. Slowly pivoting round again, adjusting the feet where you need to come into Warrior Two. Arms are in a T shape and look towards the front of the mat through the middle finger on your left hand. And let's go ahead and raise the left arm above the head and over towards the back of the mat while we either take a bind with the right arm or place it on the thigh into that reverse warrior. And on an exhale, let's come back to Warrior Two and through to triangle, leaning forward with that straight front leg, arms in the T shape and looking towards the top hand. Inhale and exhale. And slowly bend that front knee and come back to Warrior Two before placing both hands on the mat and going for that left stretch, lifting the left hand above the head. Bringing it back down towards the mat, and again go for high plank and work through your vinyasa. Slowly lowering to the mat and either coming into upward facing dog or baby cobra before pushing yourself back through into a high plank or straight into downward facing dog. Inhale and exhale. Take a moment to think about how strong and powerful you are as you move through this flow. Slowly, we're going to walk towards the top of the mat. Let's interlace the hands around the elbows, bring a slight micro bend to the knees and rock from side to side in ragdoll. Bring attention to how strong your body is and how strong your mind is for getting you through this practice. As you slowly roll up vertebrae by vertebrae and give the shoulders a roll when you're at the top and release. Now from here, let's go ahead and step and take a wide stance on the mat facing sideways. We're going to come into goddess pose. So rotate the feet to be pointing outwards and we'll go ahead and bend the knees and lower the hips. You can bring the palms together, or hands can give you support by staying on the knees if that feels better. And we'll take a deep inhale. Visualize how strong and incredible your body is in this pose. On the exhale, let's slowly rise up, straightening the legs. And let's go for a forward fold in this position. So slowly turn the toes slightly in and folding at the hips. Fold forward. This should feel really good on the legs and the back. You can bring your hands to the mat for extra support if you need it. Take a moment here to take a deep inhale. and exhale. We've worked through every part of the body through this practice, and I hope you're feeling energized and strong and confident and ready to take on anything that happens through this day. Go for a final stretch, lifting the right arm above the head, keeping the left arm on the mat, and change sides. Right arm comes to the mat and left hand is lifted above the head. Inhale and exhale, and slowly walk the feet back together in the center of the mat. Slowly raise yourself back up, and let's come back to the top of the mat. Feet hip width apart. Take a moment to thank yourself and this time that you carved out for your practice today. Raise the hands above the head and bring them together with the palms at your third eye. Remember as you move through this day how powerful you are, and come back to this practice anytime you need to remember that you are always connected to the divine and your inner power. Take a deep inhale, and on the exhale, take a quick bow of gratitude for yourself and your body and this time. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you.